So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to sign high ticket clients from ads, whether you're a high ticket local service based business, a high ticket info product, high ticket online service provider, or even if you're looking to raise capital for your fund and you're looking for guys that have 100, 200, 300 million, 2 million, 3 million, $5 million that they're looking to deploy in their next asset class or investment. This video is going to walk you through exactly how to sign those people from paid advertising. Now, before we get into any of this video is going to be broken up into three parts. Number one, I'm going to address the limiting belief that you may have around signing high ticket clients from ads. Two, I'm going to walk you through how to vet your agency depending on who you decide to work with. And then number three, what you or your agency should be doing to actually make sure that you can find these people from paid advertising. Now, I was speaking to a very, very good friend of mine, and this will bring me right into part one of this video. I was speaking to a very, very good friend of mine who operates in the smart home space. So typically project sizes between 20 grand all the way up to a couple $100,000. And they help with things like automated lighting, automated shading, fancy speakers, fancy movie rooms, high-tech security systems, full-scale commercial projects on the security side, installing like 20, 30, 40 cameras at once. And again, these are high price points. And what was interesting is he came to me because he was getting hit with a bunch of paid ads from different marketers and agencies pitching the idea to him that you can sign high-ticket buyers from paid advertising. And this was something that I had been telling him for a while, but he didn't really believe it until somebody was actually serving him ads. And what was interesting is the hesitation that he had behind whether or not this was possible. And so I explained this concept to him similar to what I'm about to explain to you now. Is him, let's call him Bob, exists inside of a silo. And every single one of us exists inside of a silo. And what I mean by this is within the silo, you are constantly being reinforced with your existing beliefs, your existing failures, your existing wins, your existing environment, and it is reinforcing your current belief state. And so if I exist in a world where making $100,000 a month from paid advertising in profit is impossible, well, then I will never venture outside of my silo. When in reality, all of the money that is to be made exists outside of this silo. And this articulates the problem that most people have when it comes to running paid ads specifically for these high-end buyers, especially on the capital raising side. A lot of these guys experience massive limiting beliefs that people with 5 million to deploy will actually click an ad from you. Is just because you exist in this world here does not mean there are people on the other side of this. Let's take it to an extreme. Let's talk about Michael Jordan, for example, or some type of pro athlete. Let's say Michael Jordan just bought a brand new helicopter. It's actually not that bad. Let's say he bought a brand new helicopter. This dude just dropped, I don't know what it is, $10 million or something, 5 million, whatever it is on a helicopter. In any world, do you see yourself spending 10 million on a helicopter? Probably not. If you are watching this video and you're one of those people, great, love it. But probably not. Most people do not think about buying a helicopter. That does not mean someone is not spending money on a helicopter. And so again, just because you exist in this silo does not mean other people exist outside of it. And so what Bob did, which was really, really smart of him, is he said, Zach has been talking to me about this for months, if not almost a couple years at this point. Let me go outside of my silo and talk to Zach or talk to marketing agencies. And what happened is in doing this, he now expanded his worldview to exist within mine, which means now all of a sudden he can see all the money that is to be made from running ads to high ticket clients. And so before you even think about working with an agency or understanding the principles behind running ads to find high ticket clients, I believe it's extremely important for you to understand this concept here. Because again, there are people that will spend 10 million on a helicopter. Just because you won't doesn't mean those people won't hand you their money. So that's the first part of this is you need to really address that limiting belief around the fact that running paid ads for high ticket clients just isn't possible, right? And so what you then need to do is, let's say I've started looking at agencies to work with, right? Before we even get into what you should be doing, I believe it's important to understand how to ask the right questions. A couple things I would be doing here. Number one, if I am looking to work with an agency, what to ask to vet agency. If I'm looking to work with an agency, the number one thing I'm going to do above all else is I'm going to do volume. I am going to interview as many agencies as I can, as many in-house marketers as I can, to determine who the best of the best is. And this is something we commonly tell prospects to do. If we're not the last call, if we're the first call, hey, go talk to other people. Why? Because the best agencies you should be viewing as partners, not service providers. If you are looking to sign high ticket clients and you're just looking for a service provider, you're screwing yourself. Because if they decide to leave, well, then now you are SOL. You have just built a business off a one-legged stool that somebody else owned. You don't want that. You want to find partners, whether that means they are there for the long run or they are there to teach you, do it for you, and then hand off and consult on the deal with your in-house marketer to where eventually the in-house marketer runs it, right? The best agencies in the high ticket space are partners, which is why I encourage you to do volume, because it ensures that you find the right fit for your business. Now, the second part to this that I find super, super interesting is in doing volume, what this allows you to do is pick up on patterns. You will know how good an agency is just by doing sheer volume. Because what all the best agencies should be doing is they should be asking you in-depth questions. What's your average cash conversion cycle? Have you run ads before? What was your experience? What's your current conversion mechanism? Is all your traffic organic? Is it referral based? Do you have a clear marketing message in ICP, or are you still all over the place? What's your sales team look like? Can they handle this kind of volume? What funnels are they accustomed to? Right? How much are you willing to spend? Do you even meet our minimum budget requirement? Why should we work with you versus your competitor in the same market? Right? Your agency, or you should be asking your agency very in-depth questions. Who do you target? How do you target them? How do I know that you're going to work, and why are you better than the next guy? The more in-depth questions that you ask your agency, the better you're going to be able to vet them as to whether they're going to make a good partner or not. And what's interesting is the patterns and the volume typically go hand in hand with the questions. The deeper you get into the interview process, because again, you're essentially just interviewing, the more questions you will have for the agency. And so that is where I would start. Is again, I'm going to do volume. I'm going to look at this as if I'm finding a partner. I'm then going to look for patterns and continue to ask in-depth questions. What also happens is, let's say I interview the first guy, I interview the second guy, and then I hear a question, or they ask me a question on the third one that I really like. Then I'll just, let's say I liked the first guy, I go back and I'll just ask that question to the first guy, right? It's totally fine to get down to like, I don't know, let's call it 75 and say, I like 75 and I like 1. Let me just ask this question for 1. Totally fine, right? But I want to make sure you're doing volume, especially in the high ticket space. If you're a smaller based business doing this, still do volume, but I don't think it's as important because the skill set required to run ads for local based businesses is not as difficult. But if you're looking for high ticket buyers, that's the first thing you're going to want to do. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do after you've already set up volume, you're starting to do volume, you're picking up on patterns, you're asking in-depth questions, is it really comes down to what those questions actually are. And it's very, very simple. Who, what, where. This is something you will see me talk all about on my YouTube channel, is who are you targeting? Who are they? What's the demographic? Who are they? Where are they going? right? And what happens is, it kind of caught it there. These all work hand in hand. So who, as in what do they want? Who, as in what do they have? Or what, as in what do they have? What do they want? Where are they? Are they just getting started in their journey? Do they have past experience in their journey? Where are they physically? Where are they mentally? Right? By asking these questions about your avatar or about who they target, you will get a really, really good idea as to who your agency actually tries to attract. And here's the interesting part, is if your agency is not asking you questions about your existing avatar, well, then you have a problem. You have a massive problem, because avatars, even if you're in the same vertical, they'll change. I want you to look at, let's say we're in the high ticket coaching space again. You have one guy that sells a high ticket program on getting started with hotels. That's supposed to be a hotel. And you got another guy that does the same thing. One guy is single, no kids, loves to flex his bag of money. The other guy has a little boy and a beautiful wife. They sell the same thing. Same thing. They're going to attract very different people. This is going to get the guys that are all money hungry. This is going to get the family people that want to create freedom for the little toddler or the kids. Right? Same offer. Teach you how to get started with hotels. Help you invest in hotels. Very different people. Very different motives for decision making. And so your agency should be asking questions about the avatar. Now, the last point I go to bring up here is arguably one of the most important: proof. And this can be articulated in a couple of different ways. Number one, a lot of the higher ticket agencies like mine can't necessarily disclose a lot of the proof, right? You look at guys like Jeremy Haynes, you look at some of these other high ticket marketers, they're not blasting testimonials all over the place. Why? A, they either signed an NDA, or B, their results are so substantial to the business that they work with that sharing them would be a detriment to the offer owner. And so what you want to then do is, again, either get proof or make sure that they're asking questions that shows that they are someone who knows what they're doing. Now, what you can always do is there are a couple forms of proof. You have testimonials, but you also have, ad spend, right? Am I going to trust the agency that spends $10K a month? Or am I going to trust the agency that spends $100K a month? And then of those two, how many offers does this make up? Or how many clients? Is this one client? Is this two clients? Is this three clients? Or is this 100 clients? Right? Is it just 1K per client? Whereas is this one client? I really want to understand the proof. And so that can come in the form of ad spend, and some of the lessons and messages that I can talk about there, as well as testimonials. The last thing I'll say that's super important with proof specifically, and it goes back to asking some of those questions, is the agencies that know what they're doing, you'll be able to tell. They will articulate themselves with a level of confidence that you will not see from some of the other agency owners, especially in this high ticket space. And so it's very, very important for you to vet in that way. I also am a big believer that some of the best agencies on the high ticket side are less emotional in the sales process because they understand they're working with people that have a lot of money, right? They think a little bit more logically. Now, every decision at the end of the day is emotional. I'm not going to tell you it's not, but that conversation goes very, very differently versus someone that's trying to build some massive future state gap with you and close you in one call, right? The best agencies understand that it's a partnership, and you may be the first call. You may not hear back for the 75th call. Totally fine. And so that's how you vet an agency. Now, this brings me to the last part, is you've addressed the limiting belief, you understand how to vet your agency, and let's say you've either decided to take this in-house or you're curious to learn, how we approach it or how we believe that other agencies should approach it in order to achieve maximum success, right? What should you be doing to attract your high-ticket buyers? Well, there's a couple of things. For one, if you're an existing business, I encourage you to look at your data. This is one of the most important things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at two things. I'm going to look at front end, cash collected, and I'm going to look at LTV, Why do I look at these two from my customer data? Because this tells me the avatar that will help me pull forward the most cash the fastest. And this will tell me the avatar that will give me the most EV, enterprise value, contract value, whatever you want to call it. And so this then allows me to make a decision. Well, what do I have to bias for? Am I looking to build the moat right away? Or am I looking to just start producing cash as fast as possible? Once I've done this and I've looked at the existing data, I can now begin to articulate who Avatar 1 is. And I love to explain this in a super simple metaphor that I came up with the other day. Again, remember, you exist within a silo. Your buyer also exists inside a silo. And so what you need to do to attract, let's say we're going after Avatar 1, we want to collect the most front-end cash, is you need to be able to articulate the environment that your buyer lives in, right? Again, do they have a wife? Do they have a kid? Do they have a little home? Is it sunny? Are there a couple of clouds out? Right? What are they thinking about? Are they thinking about money all the time? I need to be able to articulate all of these different points within my ad. And so again, this is not what I'd say in an advertisement to a high ticket buyer, but for example, let's say we're talking about this. Are you sitting there in your green grass, you're staring at your one-story house with the two single pane windows. You're looking out at your beautiful wife and your young boy. You're staring up at the blue sky with the two clouds, and you can't get your mind off money. You can't stop thinking about how you need more high-ticket clients. Now, is that something that I would use in my messaging? No, but I go to say this because it illustrates who this person is very, very well, right? If I were to try the same thing and I said, maybe this person is in a desert, he has no kids, he lives in a little hut, and it's overcast all the time. Well, and if I were to say, are you out in the sandy dunes? Oh, and he's thinking about women. Are you out in the sandy dunes, thirsty, dry, living in a hut, deprived of all pleasures of life, no sun, just thinking about your old lady back home? The guy that I'm trying to attract is going to say, yeah, that is not me. Okay, cool. I'm out of here. And so that is the number one thing that you want to be doing to attract your high ticket buyers, simply put, is articulate the exact environment that they're in. And this allows you to step outside, or as long as you do step outside of your current silo and begin to exist in somebody else's that either knows what they're doing or you're able to do that, you can start capturing all of the money and all of the clients that are to be captured outside of your existing silo. And so I hope that helps walk you guys through how to sign high ticket clients from ads. Again, we want to address that limiting belief of you live in a silo. Once we've done that and we've come to the realization that finding high ticket clients from ads is possible, then what we want to do is we want to begin looking for agency partners or marketers to hire inside of the business, or info products, right? Maybe you're looking for a consultant, someone to just help you out in that journey, right? You can fill out the link below to work with us on the consulting side or on the agency side. Again, I encourage you to not only book with us, but book with 1,000 other agencies. Really vet the best that there is. The next thing is what you should be doing. Again, super simple. Pull the data on who you want to market to and then articulate their situation. I think the last thing I want to mention when it comes to vetting an agency that I deem extremely, extremely important is you need to understand the kind of what I mentioned here, the number of clients. So certain agencies like mine, a little more boutique, we work hands-on with a lot of clients because we typically will take revenue shares of individuals' businesses, right? And so we work on a much more intimate level. So even if I have less proof, if I work more intimately, that creates a level of trust, a level of care. Whereas sometimes agencies will have more proof, but they'll have 100 times as many clients. And so it is up to you to determine what model works best for you. And so, like I said, those are going to be the three things that you need to pay attention to in order to sign high ticket clients from ads. Is you need to address the limiting belief you have inside of yourself. You need to start vetting agencies like crazy. And then once you do that, just understand the fundamentals behind how, right? Ask your agency about how do you determine what Avatar 1 is? How do you determine what Avatar 2 is, right? What do you do to actually articulate what those people look like? And attract them. And so that covers just about everything I wanted to cover in this video. I hope that helps you guys in your journey to signing more high ticket buyers. If you have any questions, comment them down below. I'll make sure to answer them in any future videos, or book a call with myself. You'll speak to myself or a member of my team, and we'll be able to walk you through what makes the most sense for you based on where you're at. Finally, like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope that was helpful.